Colleagues, we're going to turn to questions. We're going to start with the Conservatives, and I believe Ms. Rood, you're going to lead us off for up to 6 minutes. Over to you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, witnesses, for being here today on this very important study as we talk about the high cost of food and food inflation. Last December, we heard testimony at this committee that 44% of fresh fruit and vegetable growers are selling their products at a loss. So that begs the question to me, how long can farm families continue to stay in business when they're selling at a loss to big grocery stores who are constantly and consistently showing big profits? So my first question, I'm going to go over to you, Mr. Thibeault. Thank you for being here today. When you order fresh produce from farmers that you contract and they're vendors for you and they deliver the goods to your centralized warehouse, do you impose additional fees on those farmers to cover the cost of unloading the truck with the goods that you've ordered and have them delivered to you?
Well, the fees that we charge are negotiated and transparent. I think during the pandemic we showed some very reasonable stance on that. I think we favor local purchases. It's a big portion of our sales, especially in the summers. Our teams, we've had a local sourcing policy since 2013 in Quebec, 2016 in Ontario, and it's part of our corporate social responsibility as well to increase the relationship with suppliers.
So the answer, sorry to interrupt you, I only get 6 minutes, but the answer is yes, you do charge the farmer a fee to have your people unload their goods at your warehouse?
I don't have the specifics. I don't know about specific fees. All I know is that we try to negotiate and be transparent with all fees that we charge suppliers.
Well, I can answer that question for you from farmers I've talked to, and yes, they are charged an additional fee. So I'm just going to move on to the next question here. We've heard that grocery stores charge farmers other fees, and so I'm just wondering, there's something called a chargeback. So we hear that you charge this chargeback, which is a percentage of total sales that you charge back to the farmer, or what you would call a rebate, simply for having the privilege of selling their food to you to put on the store shelves. So I'm wondering if this is a practice that your company engages in.
No. In fact, we have a very transparent pricing mechanism with local suppliers. We have a web-based transaction platform where we put out the quantities that we're looking for.
So you don't have a chargeback program, or you don't have a program called a rebate program that you negotiate with farmers?
If it's a part of the fee that we negotiate, I don't have a specific example for you. But I'm saying that the pricing that we negotiate with suppliers are very transparent. They bid to what they want to sell on the web platform.
Right. Well, I get this information from farmers who tell me they participate in rebate programs, and I can tell you from experience, my family having dealt with big grocery stores, there is something called a rebate program where you do charge a percentage back. So if you're not aware of that, perhaps maybe you should look into that, because I'd really like to know where that is shown on financial statements from your company. I'll move on to my next question. Do you charge growers a lump sum payment annually for having the privilege of doing business with your company?
In some cases, we have lump sum payments that we negotiate with suppliers. When they do promotions with us, it could be a lump sum, it could be a tactical amount, it could be a portion of revenues or purchases. These are all negotiated transaction fees that we negotiate with suppliers that participate in promotions or campaigns for their products.
So you do charge them a lump sum, and to the tune of sometimes tens of thousands of dollars to $100,000 to farmers for being able to sell their produce to you.
Well, I'm talking about generally speaking with suppliers.
I'm talking about farmers and produce growers in specific.
Well, as I said, we negotiate the fees transparently. If there's any, I cannot comment on your specific example. I think at Metro, we want to make sure that we have a transparent negotiation mechanism. And as I said, it's something that we negotiate in good faith, transparently.
Okay, thank you for that. My next question, do you charge back a percentage to the farmer in order for a farmer to get paid within 15 days versus what typically in the industry is 45 to 90 days?
We pay very fast with local suppliers. It's part of our policy to make sure that with local suppliers we pay faster than our normal payment terms.
Faster for you? What is your normal terms of payment for a grower?
It varies per negotiation, but our teams tell me that it's within days. We want to make sure that we pay very fast.
Interesting. Within days, are we talking 45 to 90 days? Because that seems to be standard with grocery stores.
No, I believe with
unless they pay extra in a lump sum and you ask them to pay a price in order to be paid within 15 days.
But again, payment terms are part of the whole negotiation that we do with suppliers. So you can't take one specific example. You have to look at the whole thing that we negotiate with suppliers.
Okay. Well, we've heard also from you and from other grocers that you have private labels, and we know you have private labels. So I'm just wondering if you require your vendors to buy private label packaging from specific vendors that you're paying a rebate, that get a rebate from you.
I'm not aware of that.
Can you confirm, or are you aware that there's an unwritten rule with your company that it's a requirement for farmers that they must donate yearly to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars to charities of your choice, and must purchase tickets to certain events, or you'll cease to do business with them?
No,
No.
no, not, I don't know that.
I've heard that from some farmers, and
No.
that's something that's very concerning to me, because when I see grocery stores charging our growers, nickel and diming them for things, and having the privilege of selling to big grocery stores, whether it's your company or other companies, sir, it's it's disheartening, and it's worrisome to the tune of our food security and food sovereignty going forward. If we don't have farmers in the business of growing produce in this country to supply Canadians with healthy, wholesome, homegrown produce, then where are we going to get this from? Are we going to be relying on imports from other countries where we don't know what goes into
Ms.
these?
Rood, we're going to have to leave it at that. That is 6 minutes. But
Thank you.
thank you